Doesn't matter. There's a little...
Good evening. Live from New York, the CC Radio Network is proud to bring you tonight's show, The Rebellious Rev and the Doc, where we talk about religion like you've never heard before. There's no evangelists here, just talk about religion with a twist. So let's get started and have some fun. Welcome our hosts for tonight, The Rebellious Rev and the Doc.
There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
Live from New York, it is the Rebellious Rev and the Doc. Welcome to our show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Rebellious Rev.
And I'm the Doc. And Rev, that gentleman made a miraculous recovery.
What are you talking about?
You know, there is no heaven, there is no hell, this guy.
Oh, yeah.
He had Ebola just last week, and
He
he's
did?
back on the air already.
Oh, my heavens. I didn't know that. You know, talking about Ebola.
Well, can we catch it over the airwaves, you know? I mean...
just don't talk too loud.
Okay.
And the... since, you know, Ebola is actually a miraculous thing.
Is it really?
If you listen to the news, everything else is gone. There's no more ISIS problems, no more Russia, nothing. You go on CNN, the only thing left in the news is now is Ebola.
Well, actually, I think they're going to use my suggestion of, dropping Ebola bombs on ISIS.
Why? There's no more ISIS.
You mean they've been wiped out?
No, they haven't talked about it in the news now for at least 2 weeks, so they must be gone.
Well, give them a little time.
Well, you
They'll
know,
be back in the news.
I don't know. I don't understand it. One person dies in the United States, and all the rest of the news is gone. Everything improves so much.
It's amazing what a week will bring. What can I tell you? But we do have news coming out of the Vatican. The Pope no longer wears his ruby red shoes. I think he wears
Nikes?
No, Air Jordans.
Air Jordans? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Air Jordans. But they're opening up a council to discuss the possibility of inviting divorced Catholics back to the church and homosexual Catholics back to the church. They might even raise the ban on same-sex marriage.
Or also, while they're at it, let priests get married.
Well, I was thinking the same thing. And funny you should mention that, because one of these weird bits of news that you had me go to said that a priest, I don't know where, but does it really make a difference? He was having sex with a woman, which is refreshing, but he was having sex with a woman, he said, 4 times in 2 years, but she corrected him. She said, no, he was having sex 4 times a month. 4 times a month? For 2 years. Okay? But during Lent, he gave up sex. Okay. He was a good Catholic. Personally, it was Paul. Even though he had a family, Paul said that, men couldn't serve a flock and be married at the same time. And then later on, one of the popes made it legit, because if you know anything about the history of the Catholic Church, the early priests, the early popes, were all married practically. They all had families.
Even if they weren't married, they had families.
Well, I didn't want to say things like that. I don't want to besmirch our Catholic listeners.
We're not.
Well, how do you know? Do you know the one listener who listens? you know. But anyway, that was one bit of news that Felix had me delve into. But I firmly believe that Francis has a chance to be another John the 23rd. I really do. I think he's going to bring more people back to the Catholic Church. He's opening up a dialogue, a much-needed dialogue. You know, might even bring you back to the church, Felix.
Yeah, you never
Who
know.
knows? You never know. You might actually be baptized.
I was baptized already.
Well, you have your Holy Communion?
No, didn't have my
Well,
Holy
you can do
Communion.
that for your 63rd birthday.
I'm already 63, and now I'm going to be 64.
Oh, 64? Boy, you're older than I thought. Yeah, November 13th, everybody. Get with the program. Felix is having a birthday coming up. The Rev, as we like to call it, the rebellious Rev.
Now, did you hear about those riots in Bangladesh killed 100 many as 200 when Muslims reacted violently in a protest to a new sandal which carried a design that they said resembled the Arab script for Allah?
No, I didn't hear that, but I heard that...
Executives of the Canadian-based Bata Shoe Company were ordered into court to explain the design.
I heard more locally than that in Kennebunkport, Maine, in a Franciscan monastery, they lost St. Anthony, their namesake. I don't know how you could lose a guy that's been dead for so many years, but the remains of St. Anthony were lost articles. You know, I don't know. People, hard times, people take just about anything.
Well, did you ever hear of Enrique Silberg?
No, I didn't.
He changed his name in 1985 to Ubiquitous Perpetuary God after a judge refused to allow him to change to simply God. So what do you think? Is he God?
Hey, listen, you're going to laugh if I tell you this. In fact, I forgot to tell my wife, but I happened to be at BJ's today returning something. And the girl who took care of me, her name was Adonai.
Really?
Adonai. For those of you who are not Jewish, Adonai is the name of God. When you go to synagogue and pray, you pray to Adonai. You also pray to Hashem. And I had a kid in my class many, many years ago whose name was Hashem. And he had two brothers, Shadrach and Meshach. One more brother, and they could have had Abednego. You know. But when I told them what Hashem meant, you should have seen this guy strutting around. Just like I told the girl today. She knew what it meant. And she asked me, please don't say anything. And they made a whole announcement over all of BJ's that the girl's name was Adonai, which means God. Also, I see in Grand Rapids, Michigan, some minister devised a new way to teach Sunday school. Seems he had his students sit on a metal chair and he connected positive and negative electrodes to the chair, and every time the kids got a wrong answer in Sunday school, he would shock them. How would you like to learn your catechism that way, huh?
Well, I don't know. Some people would find it exciting.
Well, I don't know either, but it all depends where the electrodes are attached, you know.
Muhammad Qasim Ismail, 32, was found in Kuala Lumpur with a deep head wound and part of his brain missing. Police suspected that someone extracted the brain in a ritual sacrifice to bring good fortune in Malaysia's weekly lottery. How'd you like that, Mark?
Well, there was another one where a medical student actually tried eating a brain. Brain food. A medical student in Jerusalem's Hebrew University was suspended after he ate a human brain simply to win a $12 bet. I mean, people will do anything.
I know, right?
Well, maybe we should ask Hannibal Lecter, what spices did he use when he fried it up, or did he just eat it raw? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know, but this one, police said that a 30-year-old father in Little Rock, Arkansas, beat his 5 children, aged 4, 6, 7, 8, 11, and held their heads under the water and forced them to smoke crack cocaine because God told him to do it. Now, you believe that?
No, I didn't. But if anybody's ever traveled in Italy, you know how crazy the drivers are. There are generally no lights. No one stops at a street corner. They just seem to go. Well, it seems John Paul II, when he was Pope, announced 2 new sins, bad driving and speeding, that you could be fined, and you have to go. That's a sin against mankind and God if you get a fine for speeding and bad driving. Go figure that one out. And you talk about the younger generation, what they know and what they don't know. An ABC TV poll of 17-year-olds, one girl answered when asked what was the Holocaust. She said, I think that was a Jewish holiday from last week.
Right.
I don't know. And she also thought that Chernobyl in Russia, she knew nothing about the Chernobyl tragedy in Russia 25 or 30 years ago. But she thought that Chernobyl was Cher's full name.
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if any of you people listening, and we never did tell them our number, it is...
well, they all hung up the phones already.
646... Well, we have to hope that somebody's out there. 646-595-3275. If you have a bit of religious news and some oddity that you would like to share with our vast listening audience, please feel free to give us a call. In fact, you may want to try cold coffee. I'm drinking hot coffee and the sweat is just pouring down. Of course, we are in a windowless room, lined with asbestos and soundproofing, so we don't know what's going on in the outside world.
Yeah.
Well,
okay,
we never know
anyway.
what's going on in the outside world, do we?
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that might be the muffle of a train.
They may hear a train go by, but that's just a figment of their imagination, I think.
It's a figment of yours because nobody can hear it on the air except you.
Oh, I didn't tell you. One of my superpowers is super hearing.
Yeah.
Yes. I really wanted X-ray vision, but that was already taken. They said you have it.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You've already been arrested twice for looking through people's clothing. I heard you go to Bloomingdale's and go into the try-on room just so you could spy on people.
Who told you?
I read it on the wall in Bloomingdale's.
I wrote it. Of course you heard it.
Well, okay. Oh, Saturday morning in synagogue.
Since it's Friday nights and it's Mark's Sabbath starting. Figure anything's better than him talking.
Well, listening to us, at least. What can I tell you? This may be one of our shorter shows, ladies and gentlemen. The record so far is what, 45 minutes? when the two of us are together.